Hello, folks. Steve here. Hope everybody's doing well and as well as you could be, right? And while you're on house arrest. But thanks for joining me. There we go. Who's here? There's a couple people in here. But anyway, Jack, we're waiting on Jack or Frater. He's going to be here in a minute. So when he gets here, we're going to discuss symbols, biblical pictures, and how they correlate to the symbols of today. And guys like my hat? You like my hat, guys? So who's here? Hello. But anyway, here, maybe we'll go here. And I will show you. Anybody in here? Hello. Oops. Okay, right here, you see this? Channel violations. A warning. This is why I can't premiere videos. Because I got a community guideline strike. And it's a warning. And I cannot do anything about it. I called them and they could not do anything about it. Can you guys hear me? Hey, what's up, Mike? Well, I'm glad you responded. But yeah, thanks for joining me. And I'm just showing you an example of what YouTube is up to, but you know, whatever. It's their platform. They can do what they want. And I shared a video about Christchurch, that mosque shooting. Here's our reality, folks. Here's our reality, folks. Here's our reality, folks. Here's our reality, folks. Funny, eh? That's pretty crazy. But anyway, we're waiting on Jack. Who else is in here? There's 4 people now. But how are you guys coping with this whole thing? From what I'm hearing, we're going to be in here for a while. So long that our Trumpster signs a bill for how much? $2 trillion. That just proves that our economy is built on a house of cards. That our economy is, nothing. Right? I mean, we have $2 trillion just like that. Boom. What are they just going to print it up? Is that what they're doing? They're just printing the money, or they're taking it out of the coffers, or what do they got hidden under their mattress? But I don't know. Jack was supposed to be here and he's not. So we're gonna go to does anybody know what this is? I wonder if I could do it. Oh, no. How do you do this now? Stop share. Sorry. Who's all here? P Turtle, what's up? Aloha. What do you live in Hawaii, Turtle? So what do you think about the $2 trillion instantaneous throw money at the American people? What do you think of that? What does everybody think of that? You know, family of four, typical family of four is going to receive $3,400. I'm not complaining about getting money, but thank you. What's up? Okay, well, I'm on YouTube right now, so all right, brother. All right, bye. Sorry about that. That was our guest. Money is not a solution. Thank you for you like the hat, huh? It's a goofy hat, but I'm all about goofy hats. I just don't understand why the how quick you can just boom boom pen in $2 trillion for everybody. I just don't understand how that works. Maybe I'm no economist, but hey, who knows, right? The economy is just goes to show you that it's all just a bunch of nonsense. Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Woo! Okay, so all right, now okay, I'm gonna draw something here, and I want you guys. You guys know what this is, right? All right, it's 3 over here. Yeah. What the hell? There we go. 1. Oops. This is 7, 8. Okay. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Right? 8 plus 8 is 16. So 1 plus 6 is 7. Right? I don't know. Yeah, 7 plus 7 is 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So that's the doubling effect. Boom, boom, boom. This is the vortex math thing. You guys know that? Have you seen that before? The Boy Scout uniform. What's up, Cosmic? 369, staying in line. Let me suck it to you one more time. Get low. Get low, get low. From the window to the wall. Yeah, that's the our economy is consumerist. If people aren't buying things, it will tank. Yes, yes, that is the vortex math. The Marco Rodin, I think Rodin figured that out, and that's the doubling effect. Or because I read a post earlier today. Did you get me some sauce? Thank you. I just got my dinner delivered to me. Yes, that's this reality, right? Snowflake. Who's a snowflake? Oh, that's yeah, that this thing you're saying? Okay, no, oh, come on, really? Oh, I think Jack is here, so I'm done. He's here to save me, I hope. What's up? You're muted. You can unmute yourself, bud. Here, there you go.
How's it going now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up, buddy?
Good.
I'm gonna promote you, so just chill because it's gonna skip for a second. All right, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Cool.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you, bud?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Surviving the crappy pandemic.
Yeah, it's pretty crappy. I've been pent up in my house now for 2 weeks.
Oh, really? That's all right. It's an introvert's dream.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, my company is still in operation, so I've been going to work, unfortunately. Although I had today off because I've got conjunctivitis, so yeah, and with all the social climate of infection and virus, my boss was like, "No, you're not coming in. Stay at home." So yeah, I've enjoyed the day off. So yeah, man. I was gonna say I couldn't resist. I decided to watch the latest. Oh, is that my coffee? Thanks. Yeah, I decided to watch the latest David Icke.
Oh no!
About coronavirus. I went for it, man.
No. That's scary.
He makes some good points, though. He does. There's a point he made that really I really kind of agreed with, because he was talking about how the elderly are treated by. It's pretty much the same with the British or the American government. So, they work their whole lifetime, they pay taxes into the system, then they get their retirement, and it's jack shit, a state pension. And I know in colder environments where they have more severe winters, elderly people basically have to choose between heating their home or eating food. And he said, so you're telling me this system that treats elderly people with no appreciation for their service suddenly is going to turn around and be like, oh, we need to shut down the whole world economy to protect these people. And he was like, how is it they treat them like crap, the elderly, and now suddenly we're going to grind the economy to a halt in order to assist them? So I thought that was a good point. And
well, what is the point there then?
Well, his point is like, why is it we treat elderly people like shit, and now there's this pandemic, suddenly we're going to do everything in our power to protect them? He was like, why is the system suddenly doing a 180 with their view to the elderly? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, well, I understand that part, but then what's the end game? What is his end point in that whole thing? What is he insinuating?
Well, he's just insinuating the same old, we're heading for a one world government, totalitarian, like technological prison system. It's the same thing he always talks about, and he believes that this is just another part of their plan to get there. And, he might be right, but it seems like the whole global civilization thing is, to me, there is the idea that it's really a natural consequence of human technological evolution. It could be just a force that's happening, and there's not really a cabal behind it, although there are. There is a well-financed machine, which is headed up by psychopathic individuals that what I like to call it is trash magic, is what they practice, or just
Right.
so.
Right.
So these people, I'd say, Steve, they exclusively work with Saturn and Mars. Basically, they're the two planets because it has the power to like destroy things, and they're the heaviest planetary energies you can work with in Kabbalistic magic, and they're the ones that, although I'd say now there's this attack on the Mercury archetypes, because obviously freedom of speech is suppressed. The mainstream media have this narrative that the general public don't go along with, and anyone who speaks out on a different narrative is suddenly deplatformed and cancelled, and etc. etc. It's really bizarre, I think. But
Right. I
it's
was
all
just commenting on. I showed everybody that I got a community strike guideline warning. Over 8 months ago, and the only reason why I care that it's there is because I want to premiere videos so I can be in the live chat while watching a video that I created. And
right.
comment with people instead of being on a live stream and having to conduct the interview and try to keep up with the chat.
Right.
And they won't allow me to do that. I
No,
can't do
yeah,
that.
YouTube is, well, the problem with YouTube is moving further and further away from its initial idea.
Yes,
And
I agree.
MySpace did this and suffered the fate. So they have to be careful, Google, because a new platform could come up and everyone could just move
Right.
over
Right. What are
overnight.
you going to Google it to find it?
Yeah, yeah. But go on. You were going to say?
Every piece of technology that we own now is driven by Google. I mean, I worked for Comcast, and we were, right before the analog signal, or we lost our free TV bandwidth. The government actually sold Google the bandwidth for the smartphone revolution, or for the what we're doing today.
Yeah, Amazon also own a lot of that technology as well. Amazon and Google, and this was another thing David Icke was going on about. He was saying there's a plan to create a technocracy where it's cashless society, and he was basically looking at the situation in China now, and he was saying that that's the model for what they want to do in Europe and America. Basically, there's no money. You have social credits and face recognition cameras everywhere. And based on your behavior, you get more social credits or that kind of thing. So, I'm kind of hoping that there'll be I would like to see the communist government fall in our lifetime in China. I think that would be great if it did, because that government really tyrannizes the Chinese people. It's really bad, But
Yeah, I can imagine.
it's like in India and China, the whole idea of death in their culture, they're much more comfortable with the idea of death and the unknown, whereas we tend to fear it more in the West. So, I think that deep-rooted psychology plays into the way their societies manifest. So, I mean, that's just an observation that I've made, but yeah. But my bottom line is, though, I remember you asked me on our last live chat what I thought of the coronavirus, and I told you that I didn't care about it. But what I kind of got my semantics muddled up when I reviewed our chat. What I meant was, I don't. It's not that I don't care. I'm not worried about it. If you see what I mean.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, you're just not.
And obviously,
Yeah.
my heart goes out to people who have lost their lives and relatives of loved ones. But I'm looking at it now, and this whole thing has got occult undertones built into it. I'm afraid it seems like there's some spell casting over the general public occurring to me. See,
Some people in chat are agreeing with you. One says Max remote view vision says, I'd French kiss an Asian who just ate bat soup.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the thing. When you start practicing the occult very seriously, like I do, when things, what a consequence of that in the Golden Dawn initiation in the Outer Order is that your consciousness becomes more centered. So you become less reactionary to things happening in the outside world, and you have a kind of buffer zone when an event happens. You've got more of a buffer zone to stop and think of what is actually going on before your emotions follow. So it allows you to, like, you know, like I said, I think I told you last time, you can see the arguments on both sides and you're not vehemently aligned to one or the other. And when I say both sides, I don't mean politically necessary. It could be, whatever
You don't
argument.
identify yourself with your beliefs, is what you're saying.
Well, not that. Where there's, say, let me give you an example. So, say where they have a highly polarized debate. Let me pick, for example, pro-life versus pro-choice. I'm not like going to be like, oh, I'm pro-life or vice versa. No, fuck that. I'm pro-choice. It's like, well, it's like, it depends on the situation and the individual in question on merit. It's like, if the girl was raped, maybe she should have a right to abort it. But, if it's someone who could care for the baby, but they just don't want the hassle and they want to be irresponsible, well, maybe, I don't know. My point is that arguments like this, where there's vehement opposition in direct conflict with one another, or for example the left or right paradigm, you don't strongly associate with one side. You can see both sides and how they're being played off against each other. So
that's essentially the point of equalizing, or bringing your mind and your heart together, so you're not, and that's what the Buddhists teach too, right? I mean,
right, yeah.
Be part of the world, be in the world, but not of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's more harmonization between the heart and the mind, or the left and the right brain. You can think of it like that. So bringing that in context of what's going on at the moment with this pandemic, the more it goes on, the more it seems obvious to me that this is kind of a manufactured stage event, a la 9/11, basically. I'm not convinced of any of the media stories.
I don't know. Now this is my argument against that is, if you have nuclear weapons and you're an elitist, you're not going to set it off because it's going to kill you too. I mean, you're not going to unleash a pandemic if you got to live in the world. You know what I mean by that?
But you're not a psychopath, though, Steve.
No, I understand that, but listen to this point, this perspective though. Because I've been hearing this perspective that I was watching a RFB podcast the other day, and I got so sick to my stomach because this guy is, first of all, he's saying that viruses don't kill you, viruses aren't real. Viruses, there's no such thing as viruses, when we all know that there's viruses, and viruses have been killing everybody since the beginning of time.
Sure.
Now, the vaccines, I understand there's issues with the vaccines, but this whole pandemic thing may be a genie that got out of a bottle that was manufactured or lab induced, but I don't think it was deliberately set on fire, unless it was some guy with a book of matches, you know what I mean? Some idiot that was in the lab and did it on an accident and let it out. But I think this whole thing is connected to our disconnect from God and our disconnect from the earth and the natural what have yous of the world. Because I mean, all you got to do is look up,
you could be right there. I wouldn't disagree with that. There needs to be some kind of global rebalancing effect. And, I don't think depopulation is the issue. I don't think carbon is an issue. I think they're issues created primarily by misanthropic people to push their kind of narrative. And it's like that last point you said, why you compared releasing a pandemic with a nuclear bomb. Some people desire to destroy reality and take as many people down with them. Such is the
what's the end game
severity
for
of
that?
the Logos. They can't take it.
Right. Yeah, but I do see the point of people put or add two and two together when the two and two are like when all the CEOs stepped down. Now the CEOs stepped down so they could sell their shares off because they knew this was coming because they had prior knowledge or they had before foreknowledge more so than the general public did because they were hip to the news coming out of China before anybody else was.
Right.
And that's why they dumped all their stocks, and that's why they stepped down from their companies, is so they could dump their stocks.
Yeah. I mean, quite possibly, that could be a reality. That wouldn't surprise me. But like I said, I just call it a hunch, if you will. Something about this pandemic, it doesn't quite add up in the intuitive part of my
I totally agree with that.
and now this is the other thing, because Trump and Boris, they didn't want to shut down the economy. And this is another point Ike made. They just, you get sick for a few days, you get on with it. And, and the plan to, we don't know how long this is going to go on for, but say worst case, this whole lockdown goes on for say 6 months.
It's going to go on longer than that. I think it's going to go on for over a year.
We really don't know. I mean, but it's going to absolutely obliterate the economy. I mean, look, 2 weeks ago in California, you had 260,000 people file for unemployment. Mm-hmm. Last week, 3.3 million people filed for unemployment. And I'm lucky because my employer is actually going to do well out of this coronavirus. And, so I'm one of the lucky ones. But, there's a lot of people in a lot of industries that they're going to suffer. And I'm telling you, the old Pied Piper repo man's still going to come knocking in 6 months' time, etc. So yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Are you going to get your check for $1,200?
No, it's $3,400 for a family of four. Yeah. Okay. Single people, $1,200. Yeah. Now, and then they extended the full unemployment benefits to 4 months out, 4 full months of your full wage. And usually unemployment benefits are only 2/3 of your wage. So,
right. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm telling you, right. I think I had coronavirus in January. I really think I had it because I started this new job on the 20th of January and I got sick on the Friday before I started on the Monday. And I was like, oh, fuck, man, I can't call in sick on my first day for a new job. That's just not on. You just don't do that. So I ended up going in, and then 2 weeks later, I got sick again with flu-like symptoms. And that's never happened to me where I've got the flu. And this is the thing is I didn't relapse and have the same bug. The first time round, my nose was all blocked up and my sinuses were all, runny, etc. But the second time round, my nose was completely dry and my sinuses were dry, and I had a tight chest. My throat was all fucked up. And I'm looking at the coronavirus symptoms and I'm going, well, this is all the stuff I had. And the other thing in that job, I was dealing with circuit boards and testing components that had come out of China and Taiwan a few months earlier, So it's quite plausible I did have it. And, if that's the case, if I did, which I have a kind of feeling I did, it really ain't that bad. seriously, it's not that bad. It's like a 3-day flu. You feel shitty and then you're fine and you get on with it, you know?
Right.
So, oh, what just happened?
That's messing with the whiteboard because I
Uh,
mean
so yeah,
when you talk it's just showing your name there.
yeah. So
Or you can share some photos. We can get into that now or
yeah, so that I wanted to tell you a story because I know I've been watching your channel and you've been inquiring into the efficacy of the banishing ritual, and I've got an experience I can share with you that it's pretty fucking gnarly. So earlier this week, I was doing my daily temple, and there'd been like weird shit happening in the house, like spooky stuff. Like I won't go into it with my wife. She doesn't really want me talking about it, but there'd been some strange stuff happening. So I was like, okay, when I do my daily ritual, I'm gonna. So you have 5 different flavors of the pentagram: spirit, fire, air, water, and earth, right? And then you can either invoke or banish each one of those elementals. So there's 10 different pentagrams you can form in, even though they call it the banishing ritual, you can actually invoke as well during that ritual. So so I decided to invoke the active spirit, right?
mm-hmm.
So I did that at the start, and I'm doing my meditation. I'm doing my middle pillar meditation, and I have a small quartz scrying ball. It's about 2 inches in diameter, and it's kind of like just slightly off smoky quartz. It's actually called ice quartz. It's from the Himalayas. So I like to scry on it. I wasn't actually scrying because I'd called on a spirit per se. I was just focusing on the ball, as in focusing on one thing only, basically in meditation, right? You understand what I mean by that.
Yep.
So I'm staring at this ball, not expecting anything, and I'm telling you, this cloud like just came rushing round my altar, past my face, and it was like smoke cloud, but it wasn't like smoke. It was so bizarre, man, and it just came round and went past my face, and I instantly looked at my sensor because I thought, oh, it's just my logical mind's trying to tell me that's just smoke from the sensor. That's not anything out of the ordinary. But my sensor had the coal in there had basically burnt out and exhausted. So it was like this pillar about 6 foot tall of like I'd say it was like a tornado, but it wasn't spinning like a tornado. It like if you were to like shrink a tornado to the size of a human and it's not got spin to it, it was like that. And
Wow.
and so I've looked back at everything I've done, and it's I was in the process of scrying. I wasn't expecting to see anything, and that's really
What is it? What
important.
exactly is scrying again?
So scrying is when you look into like a black obsidian mirror to draw a spirit into it to evoke it to a physical appearance. So you stare at it and go into a trance mode, and you'll recite certain liturgy or incantations, and you pull the spirit into the scrying mirror. So you can use a black mirror, a crystal ball that has a reflective surface, an obsidian ball, obsidian mirror. There's lots of different devices that magicians use when they evoke a spirit to a physical appearance. So, I when I say I was scrying on my scrying ball, I wasn't doing it with the intention to evoke a spirit. I was just doing it to focus on one thing only, basically. To just stare at this quartz ball, and that's the one thing I'm going to focus on during this meditation, right?
Right.
And yeah, this like pillar of cloud just whooshed around the altar, and it wasn't like a hallucination. And so to finish the story, I'm trying to figure out like, so it was spirit. It was a manifestation of spirit that I saw, and visible appearance, right? Like, you know, and I'm not on drugs or anything. I don't drink, so it's not like a hallucination from that. And what I have, I've got what's called a double cube altar, and in the bottom of that altar, I have a little pot with some earth in there, and I basically invoke my ancestors into that earth. It's a kind of physical body for my ancestors to help them influence me with my magical practice. And every full moon, I feed it rum and tobacco, etc. So, putting two and two together, what I saw was like a spiritual um, apparition of my ancestral spirits. So,
Cool.
and I got to be honest, Steve, it startled me. Really did startle me when I saw it. You know, it came and went within like 2 or 3 seconds, and it was gone.
It's like those things people see in pictures, and people say they're reflections off of some bright surface or a mirror or something, right?
Oh no, this wasn't a fucking this was the real deal.
An
This
actual
was the real.
spiral,
Pardon?
like a tornado spiral, you're saying?
So I describe it. It was like a tornado, but without. I'd say this. It's very hard to describe. So if you imagine you shrink a tornado down to the size of a human,
Mm-hmm.
and you take away the spin from the tornado, the internal spin. So it was kind of that shape, like a cigar shape, but it did have some kind of smoke blowing in the wind kind of movement to it. And it wasn't a humanoid, but if it had kind of focused a bit more, it would have become a humanoid kind of figure. And yeah, it was and it was moving. Interestingly, it was moving anti-clockwise around my magic circle, and I'd already done the invocation of active spirit. So
Why did you mention it counterclockwise, move counterclockwise?
because invocation is associated with clockwise movement around your circle.
Oh, okay.
Banishing is associated with counterclockwise. See, so that's why I raised that point. But what I really got from that is that Phil said in one of his talks with you, he says, the trouble is with death and people not understanding death is that they've never experienced themselves as spirit. So because they never have in the course of their lifetime, there's this huge element of mystery about death. And he was saying that once you've experienced yourself as spirit, then you understand the fact that spirit is very real, and then you're not so afraid of death, etc. But you know, I haven't really messed around with actual spirit evocation much. I'm more just I more just stick with planetary invocations because they've worked for me. So I haven't really seen the need to evoke a spirit. I have the grimoires to do it, like the Key of Solomon and the Goeth, etc. But man, I'm telling you, like this experience, Steve, just proved to my mind, in absolutely no shadow of a doubt, the reality of spirit. It was really and it wasn't an internal vision either. It was an external apparition that I saw. You know, so yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you because I know
That's
you've
pretty
been
sweet,
wondering
man.
about the banishing ritual. So let me tell you, the banishing ritual is a very real thing, and it produces very real effects. Depending on the competency of the operator using it, you know. But if you come into a balanced state of mind and you understand intellectually what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you use it, it will produce results, you know. So I just thought I'd share that experience with you, because I think
That kind of reminds me of, you know, people that experience near-death experiences and whatever, they're way different when they come out of it, or when they come back, or when they, you know, they're back in their body or whatever. And
yeah,
I think that's pretty much what you just described right there, is a realization that there's way more to this life than
yeah.
living.
Yeah, and I mean, there was another operation I did. I won't go into too much detail, but I had my wife scry for me, and you know, I was like a robot just going through the ritual. And at the end, she was like, "Yeah, I saw all these angels like came, like they were downloading information into me telepathically. There was a demon on the wall that they banished in the western part of the temple, which is where the demons come from." And I'm listening to her going, "Your experience is so different to mine." I couldn't believe it when I had my wife scry for me. She's a natural at that. She really is. So I'll see if I can get her to do it for me more, and we can do some Enochian magic. Because that's really, for me, that's the real shit, is the Enochian stuff. That's where you literally contact with angels and get them to do things for you that you're not able to do. It really is quite fascinating. I really do find it interesting. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, I thought I'd share that with you. So what direction do you want to take this chat?
Well, I just wanted to read this Cree Indian prophecy. Only after the last tree has been cut down, only after the last river has been poisoned, only after the last fish has been caught, only then will you find that money cannot be eaten.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
found
that's
that
pretty interesting.
right.
Kind of pessimistic. So yeah. So
Well, it's saying, you know what? You keep shitting in your backyard, you're going to smell it eventually.
yeah, no, that really is true. I agree with you on that. That's a nice photograph you got there. Where's that?
That's in Minnesota, right over the Mississippi River, downtown Minneapolis,
Ah,
last year or
cool.
2 years ago.
God, it looks cold in Minnesota.
Today it was 52 degrees, though.
Man, I'm telling you, this winter in Southern California has been wet and cold. No sign of global warming from this winter at all. None
Well, it's been
whatsoever.
warm here. I mean, I couldn't even get my fish house out on the river or out on the lake again. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's yeah. Anyway, let's not go into it. Let's talk about more lofty subjects, I think. So,
Right.
can you so how much time have you got?
I got about 40 more minutes.
All right, okay. So,
If you
I've
want, we
got a
could,
compilation of pictures um that I wanted to share with you. And can I share my screen?
you sure can.
How do I do that?
Go down to share, down on the bottom, the two bar down there.
Share screen. All right, so you can see my screen now.
Yes, sir.
All right, so do you know who that is?
John D.
No, this is please move this window away from the shared application. Okay, so this is Jacob Boehme. Jacob Boehme. So Jacob Boehme had union with God twice in his life. Imagine that. Imagine that. You've only got to do it once in all the multitude of all your incarnations in the universe. And this motherfucker did it twice in one lifetime, which I find quite fascinating.
Why, how is that possible? Well,
I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question, Steve. This guy must have been seriously pious. He must have known something that we don't know. So Jacob Boehme is probably the greatest Christian mystic in history speaking. So, I mean, did he take the path of love or the intellectual path of the great work? You know, I don't really know, but all I know is that it's legend has it that he experienced illumination twice in one life. So that's why I've just got a melee of lots of different images relating to the great work. So
just a second, Jack. Recently, I realized that illumination is a separate event from meeting God, right?
yeah, no,
it's creating the only begotten or the light of the world with God.
Well, that's what Phil said. He said he met God in and as like Buddha, a bronze statue of Buddha in Angkor Wat, and it was only he said like a 5 days later or something when he was contemplating on his experience and recognizing that all was singular. He said that was the realization he had that allowed him to ejaculate from his body and spirit.
Right.
I don't know why I chose that word, but yeah.
Well, that's how he said it.
Yeah, that's probably why I said it. Yeah. So, and you know, this is why in the great work in the magical path with the Golden Dawn, there is so much emphasis on polarity and the ritual called the middle pillar to depolarize your consciousness, because you know, once you do have union with God, the idea of reconciling polarity is something you've been practicing for years. So you'd be able to have that realization that Phil had very quickly. You wouldn't be like a pious Christian just stuck with, you know, having that kind of loving relationship with God, but no idea, still believes in Jesus, still believes in Satan is this eternal battle with God and Satan and blah, 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 blah. Do you see what I mean?
Dogma.
The dogma. Well, dogma is not all bad. You know, some dogma is, you know, very accurate, I think. But that word kind of has a negative connotation, I find. You know, so some dogma is accurate, you know, but that's more in the sense of magic. In the established religions and the kind of dogma that they put out there and disseminate, it really is a crock of rubbish, you know, even though all their aphorisms are true at the same time. It's bizarre.
Well, yeah, it is bizarre,
but their aphorisms are true symbolically, not literally. So correct. You know,
and it's all around us in our daily world too, in our daily life, and in the churches and the buildings and the symbolism. It's everywhere.
Well, you know, mysticism is fucking dangerous, man. So is magic, in as much that if people find out what you're doing, they'll fucking kill you, you know, to protect their religious ideology, or could be a political ideology. And that's really that's another metaphorical story of the parable of Jesus and the Romans, because he's like, yo, I know the truth. It's all right. Okay. He says he knows the truth. Let's kill him, you know? And so the other day, I think I sent you a text message about this, Steve. I was on YouTube and this random video came up with a title of the Bible, and it was a live chat. It was some black guy. So I click on it, and I didn't realize he was one of those black Hebrew Israelite dudes.
Oh yeah,
and,
I remember.
and they believe that the blacks are the lost tribe of Israel, even though the lost tribe of Israel is, I'd say the lost tribe of Israel is souls that have been enlightened in a past life and they're back in incarnation, basically.
Well, they're just like the fallen angels.
You could call them a fallen angel. That term is interchangeable, you know. So anyway, back to my story. This guy's making a complete mess of his exegesis. He's talking about everything literally. And I said in the chat, hey guys, like, you should really be careful and take this more symbolically than literal. And I said that, and these people in the chat attacked me like fucking wolves. I was so shocked at how vicious and nasty they were, because my point of reference was against their religious ideology, which is a literal interpretation based on race. And and when I experienced that, you know, it was quite funny. They were like, "You need to kick Frater Deus est veritas from the chat." And I'm like, do you even know what my fucking Latin name means? Like, seriously, you're trying to talk about religion. It's kind of ironic, but this is my point. I realize how dangerous mysticism is, and how, and magic at the same time. And 200-300 years ago, as people would have killed you for exploring the mystical nature of reality or the occult nature of reality. They would just fucking put you under a guillotine, or, you know, they excommunicate for you from the church, stone you to death. I don't know. Use your imagination for how they killed people in history. But
Yeah, nowadays they just call you nuts and try to throw you in a loony bin.
yeah. It's and this is, and for the first time, I really understood why Jesus says, you know, to avoid casting pearls before swines.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think with your channel and my channel, Steve, there isn't really a great need to reach as far a reaching audience as we possibly can. It's definitely a case of quality over quantity, because, I mean, speaking from myself, I want to attract people who are looking for the truth, and they're open to, like, putting science and religion together, putting intuition and logic together, putting the left and right paradigms together. They're open to going, okay, how can I reconcile things of a contrary nature? They're the people that I want to find my channel, you know, even though I've got fuck all videos on my channel. I'm still working on that, by the way. But you know,
The
so
videos you do have on there are second to none. I'll give you that. Me,
yeah.
I just put it out there just in case there's somebody that it, because there's nothing like that aha moment, or that moment that goes, wow, that's what it is, you know, or holy
Yeah,
cow, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
yeah.
when I ran into that, it was the biggest epiphany, biggest enlightening moment I ever had, and
Yeah,
I that's what drew me to want to open a channel, was
yeah,
to
yeah,
find more information out and to share my story. I could give
yeah,
two shits less who watches it, but for the ones that are on board with me, more power to them. But you know, you can lead. It's the old adage: you can lead them to water, but you can't make them drink. And
right.
you know,
Yeah,
I do appreciate anybody and everybody that helps me on my journey, and you know, hopefully I can help them. And that's why I do what I do. So I
yeah,
think that's pretty much what you're saying. And yeah, the quality over quantity thing is, I'm starting to try to do that. Yet me, I'm a hack, and I try to. I
oh,
don't
you're
have.
not a hack, man. Don't talk yourself
I don't have
down.
patience, man, to
Yeah,
put it in.
yeah.
You know.
That's the restlessness of the Gemini nature, man.
Right. Right.
But yeah, but anyway, so what were we saying? Yeah, um, you know, I had to watch Phil's videos maybe 20 times, 20 to 30 times each before I literally understood intellectually exactly what he was talking about. And before I understood his whole sequence and how he portrays the nature of reality, it took a lot of, like, repeating over and over what he said before I really put his jigsaw piece together, so I could be like, aha, this is what he's on about, you know. And I found, when I went through all the scriptures all verified everything that he was saying, which was really bizarre, or but not bizarre at the same time, beautiful. So
Right.
So yeah. So yeah, we've got through one picture so far. I'm just gonna keep
Now,
scrolling.
what was your point with this guy? He got illuminated. He was
Twice. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? How'd you do that, man? So I don't know. I find that pretty amazing that just the legend and the legacy that he has as a Christian mystic. I find that truly amazing that you can illuminate twice in a life, not just once. See, I'm going for 4 times, man. No, I'm
right,
joking.
right.
So yeah,
The Bible now is it I can't remember. Is it the gunas, like the mystical, the ritual, and the spiritual? Am I right there?
the three gunas. That's Hinduism, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it applies to the Bible too, right?
that's interesting. I haven't compared the three gunas to the Christian mysticism. Maybe I should do that. But I know it's the number 3, isn't it? So when you think about the number 3 in mysticism, it's really a reference to the triplicity of God, or the triune God, the 3 infinite aspects that God has,
Yeah, that's goodness.
which is
Love.
pleroma,
Yeah,
or heaven, infinite stillness or infinite void, a singularity in the cosmos, and also the abyss. They're all infinite. So
okay. Those are the macro trifecta.
yeah. But we all have those within us as the micro.
Maybe I'm thinking of the 4 aspects and the layers of the Bible, how it speaks in parable or allegory in mystical terms.
Yeah,
And,
the word you're looking for is anagogical. Anagogical.
anagogic, yeah.
So if you look up that word, that says I'll let me look it up. I've got my phone here. I've got a dictionary on my phone. Oh, anyway, no, I don't have my phone. Anagogical is the level of interpretation that alludes to the true nature of reality, God and heaven and ascension, basically. So it's the real deep, juicy knowledge of scriptures, and in whatever scripture, whether it's the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, Nag Hammadi, whatever, So yeah. All right, let's see what other photos I got here, man. I don't even know. All right, there's the 7 kingdoms that I stole that off Phil.
Yeah, well, my whole photo library is stolen from Phil, pretty much.
Yeah. Let's not go through that. Well, so it's interesting. So this is a picture of the 7 seals from Revelation.
Yep.
Which is the 7 chakras and also the 7 kingdoms. But this 7th kingdom and this 1st kingdom are kind of they're inextricably linked, because that's where the loop goes back, because man creates the abyss and the light himself.
Right.
So that's why it talks about 6 kingdoms in Genesis, because this 1st and the 7th, the 1st is the macro and the 7th is the micro of the macro.
Right. So, you could think of it as the 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 of the Fibonacci sequence too.
Yeah.
But the light is the mentalism. The 2 or nuclear is the cause, or the cause, or as above, so below, the correspondence. And then the atomic is the vibration. And then the molecular is the polarity. And then the 5, the plant, is the rhythm, right? And then, or wait, yeah.
You could say that the vegetable kingdom corresponds to rhythm, because we see the rebirth of nature every springtime in the northern hemisphere. Well, every spring, so that you do notice the rhythm to the vegetation more so than anything else.
Correct. And then the animal is the cause and effect, and then the man is the gender.
Yeah, yeah. No, man is the gender because we're the bride of God.
Right.
So
The
yeah, now
generation,
that's
regeneration.
yeah. No, I'd never actually thought about that concept. Looking at what the kingdoms correspond to,
The seven hermetic principles.
yeah, extrapolating them over the seven principles of Hermes. But yeah, that's cool. So I'm just going to keep clicking, Steve,
Go
and
ahead. Go ahead.
we'll see what we have here. So, it's obvious that the seven seals are connected to the seven kingdoms and the seven chakras, and this is another point. This is why magic works. I think the reason why magic works is because we are genuinely the microcosm of the macrocosm. If we weren't, you'd just be a weirdo in a robe in your mother's basement waving a ceremonial blade about. I'm serious. That's the only explanation I can think of. I don't really know why, and the why doesn't matter so much, but yeah, it's cause and effect.
Well,
So
that
yeah,
light, that only begotten Son is the light of the world, just like it says in the Bible.
yeah,
It's what refreshes the whole, you know, uh, system.
yeah, yeah. So there's the Ouroboros in in the number 8.
Yep.
I think that's a reference to the infinite nature of reality, basically. That's what I get from that.
Exactly. I agree with that. And when I see that symbol, I see the reciprocating precessional hyperboloid, or the toroidal magnetic field.
Do you know what I see as well? On top of that, I agree with everything you say, like the Meru Foundation. But do you know what I also see from that?
What's that?
The Logos, the snake.
Oh yeah.
That's the snake must correspond to the Logos. I
Well, yeah,
mean,
the carnal nature of the light and what it produces, right?
yeah, yeah. So, and also, it's the snake that gives you the wisdom, you know.
Yes. Serpent wisdom,
So,
yes. And that's
but
why
this is the thing: as you go through the Bible, you realize everything corresponds to the Logos.
Oh yeah.
So, look, we'll go for a few more, and I'll show you. Okay, so we've got this. Okay, yeah, this one is like the three aspects of God, and then the fourth at the top, which is the Logos
The
or the
logos,
light.
or the light, or Jesus, or
And what's interesting is you have the two palm trees,
yep.
which could represent the pillars on the tree of life of polarity.
Yes.
And they're also a palm tree actually looks like the light itself.
Yes, and then
So
you notice that things hanging off the bottom, whatever those are,
what
underneath.
here?
No, up underneath the leaves. Yeah, like the two beams that come off the pineal.
Yes, they're the two frontal beams, aren't they?
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, I didn't notice that. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. How interesting. Yeah, that's fascinating. All right, let's keep clicking, see what we get. Brahma on the bird.
Yep.
That one's pretty obvious. So, yeah, Brahma is the Logos. And I guess the reason why he's sitting on a bird is because he's just kind of flying through infinite space. I guess a fish swimming through water can be paralleled with a bird flying through the air.
Right. And
And so,
sometimes then the demiurge is the snake, and yes, that's one and the same as the logos. Or
yeah. And if you think about it, scientifically speaking, air is a fluid and so is water. So
right.
the correspondence with a fish or a correspondence with a bird is kind of interchangeable. So actually, if I go back to the zodiac, there was a zodiac picture here, right? So everything here, every zodiac sign and mythical creature relating to every zodiac sign corresponds to the light as well. So you have the ram, which is, it's got the horns. So, Satan with his horns.
Well, the two horns also represent the lobes of the brain too, right?
Right. And the two laser beams coming from the front, right? Okay. So then you have Taurus, the bull. That again is like Moloch, the devil, the demiurge. You have it again. Then you've got Gemini, the twins, which would be like God and the bride of God if it's a male and a female, essentially in mystical union.
Or Osiris and Isis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got Cancer the crab, and it's got all its legs and its two front prongs, so it looks like the light.
Oh yeah, wow.
You got Leo the lion, and obviously the whole, it even has the shape of a cat's head. You got Virgo the virgin, which is the immaculate, what do they call it, immaculate conception, which is the abyss creating the light in the first initial cosmogony, and then us being the virgin when we marry God and produce the divine child.
Right, the abyss, the feminine aspect, or the waters of noon, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have the scales of Libra next, which is like, I prefer Libra to be a book symbol because it's the book of life, which is the demiurge. It's also represented as a book. So Libra is a book or scales, but I guess if it's scales, that's the reconciliation of polarity that you need to produce the light. Basically, you have to be in total balance.
Yep, equilibrium.
Scorpio is, like Cancer the crab, just fucking, the claws coming out the front, the weird legs coming out the side. But the thing about Scorpio as well is that, it's got the stinger, and the universe will fucking sting you over and over again, man, if you don't have your shit together. So, so Sagittarius, the centaur, what I get from the centaur is that, how the sixth kingdom and the seventh kingdom are basically one in the same. Like, man has risen above his animal spirit, so he's
the pinnacle.
Yeah, you've got the Rausch below, which is the animal soul, and then the Nefesh above in Kabbalah, which is the higher soul. Right. And also, he's got a fucking bow and arrow, so it's the whole phallic nervous system ejaculation concept as well.
And that bow and arrow is pointing right at the bullseye, the center of the galaxy.
Right, exactly, yeah. And then you've got the I don't know, Capricorn's weird. Like, what the fuck is that thing? Like a mermaid goat, fish goat.
I think it's pretty much symbolizing the dragon aspect, or the fish aspect mixed with the animal generation.
Yeah, so it's the fish with the ram mixed together. So I think that one's kind of weird, though, personally. I mean, maybe I'm sorry if there's any Capricorns out there.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, don't call my, So yeah. Hey man, I'm a Capricorn on Vedic astrology. So yeah. And then Aquarius is, the water bearer. That's that's
obvious, yeah.
So the water bearer could be either God in the original creation, or it could be you when you create the waters that gives birth to the divine child. And then the two fish, lastly, one of the fish is the demiurge and the other fish is you when you're looking at the demiurge. I mean, it's quite amazing how you can, and it's not like we're clutching at straws here, trying to connect dots that don't exist. These are actually quite obvious when you really think about it and
And all
contemplating.
of those things are in our heads too, in our brain. And
Exactly. Yeah.
there's 12
Yeah.
cranial nerves in our brain that mimic the zodiac.
Right. And there seem to be eternally striving for some kind of balance amongst each other. And
Exactly.
this is why it talks about the rulers in the Gnostic texts, is that the rulers or the archons also correspond to the seven planets, and there's this constant ebb and flow of auspicious or debilitating energy that they're interplaying with each other, and that's what we're trying to transcend in illumination. You see, it's
Correct. Now, does
really
that
interesting.
have anything to do with the symphony of the spheres? You know how they say that I can't remember which great thinker pushed that. Was it Aristotle or no?
I don't know if it was Plato or
But you know what I'm referring to?
yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's the same concept of wheels within wheels,
Yes.
because you have the orbits engulfing all orbits, like larger orbits. But yeah, I mean, and
Well,
like I
nowadays
said,
we know that it's more than orbits. It's a spiral that is spiral with, like, we're trailing behind the sun in a spiral motion.
hmm,
You know,
yeah,
it's not.
yeah, it's like a corkscrew motion if you
Yes.
actually look at it from a different point of reference, not just like a flat disc.
Right.
So, and I think this is our biggest problem, really, is that unfortunately physicists can't recognize man as the microcosm of the macrocosm,
You
and
know,
that's
I just seen something on the Science Channel, dude, that and it blew my mind because I've been saying that we reside in a black hole. You know that everything is in and of itself it's the anu. You know that we're in that reciprocating toroidal substance that is everything, and
right,
everything
right.
is of that nature. But I was watching the Science Channel and that Mike Rowe, that dirty job guy, the guy who does that show Dirty Jobs or whatever. Uh,
No, no, I don't. I haven't seen it. No,
well,
but
I
anyway,
heard him say, well, and scientists now are saying that that a black hole may not be what everybody thinks it is as a destructive force in nature, that it may be where our reality or where we were created, or where everything in the galaxy or universe was created was within a black hole. And some are saying we may live in one. So I found that I was
yeah,
like blown away, man.
yeah. I'm not. I don't think you can trust these scientists and secularists to correctly uh, teach the real to really know what a black hole is. You have to
Oh, right.
combine it with mysticism, otherwise it's difficult. And going back to your point about the black hole and the Anu, remember you have the Anu is the physical limit of reality, where it's like the Planck scale in science, where you no longer are at. It's so small that it's no longer physical. So it's where the physical plane ends and the mental or astral planes, as they call them, begins. But remember, you have a positive Anu and a negative Anu, depending on the direction of spin.
Right.
So how do you so with that said, you have the positive and negative Anu. How do you combine
They're
that
all
in
in
your
one.
theory?
That's what the Earth has. That's how the Earth. See what the to me what gravity is the Earth falling into its negative image. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to explain that. It's like,
That's a weird way of looking at it, but I understand what you mean by that.
yeah,
But
everything is pulled to itself if it's of the right tincture, I guess is what you would call it in an alchemical mindset. But
right,
the anu is like the toroid or the north and south pole, how the reciprocating structure of it is, how it's divergent and convergent, and it's of the same. It's an unbroken, like the Ouroboros, or the
right,
snake eating its tail.
yeah,
you know, and one side is the negative. You know, it's the ebb and the flow, the rhythm, the in breath, the out breath.
Right, right,
You
yeah.
know,
Which goes back to the Hermetic aphorisms, you know.
well, Theosophists called it Fohat. When Fohat digs holes in space, Anu appear, and that's, to me, that's the abyss, or the space is the positive or negative, whatever you want to call it, and the Anu is what happens when that perturbation happens, when
Right.
light, when Fohat interrupts it or causes the vibration or friction.
Yeah, the other theory that they posited was that, I think this goes back to Nordic beliefs as well, that one of the gods was making holes in the abyss, and that's what a star was. So the divine light could come through the hole in the abyss and shine in the galaxy. I like that. I really like that. I mean, I'm not saying, yeah, that's literally what happens, but
Right.
the symbolic.
Are you familiar with Roger Penrose and his CCC model?
You know, I'm not. I'm not going to pretend I am. No.
That's makes the most sense. Where it's pretty much the, you know, the same thing, where everything is born from the same thing. When it takes when it in, you know, it it's like the yugas, you know.
So is this like, to be more secular on this point? Is this like a holographic model of the universe?
No, it's a conformal cyclical cosmogony, meaning that it's there's there's a big bang, but there's a big
Oh
bang
yeah, yeah. No, I
over and
well,
over and over and over and over and again, and that's because it's within us that creates it.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agreed. You know, Freeman Dyson recently passed away, and he was considered to be one of the greatest physicists of our time. He he did a podcast on Joe Rogan about 6 months ago, and I watched the whole thing, and it was really fascinating to listen to him. But he was advocating for a Big Bang slash Big Crunch theory that would continue ad infinitum, which to me makes the most sense, because everything has to die eventually. Everything physical has to meet its death. But then you go back to the idea of the phoenix re-rising from its ashes, and
Shiva,
you know,
yes,
the whole the resurrection thing. So yeah,
yes,
man, I
and
think that's
that would explain the singularity at the middle of our galaxy, and the singularity in the middle of our heads, the singularity that of God, pretty much.
yeah, yeah. Let me. Oh, did there's another. I read this Bible story the other day. Let's see if I can find. Is my screen share working?
No, you got to hit share again.
Okay. Okay. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? I bet your photo library looks similar to mine. Hey.
It looks pretty damn close, man.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that cross right there. That one I got the black and white version of with the
This
pentagram.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from the Golden Dawn. So you have
Yep.
so you have this is the Rose Cross. So you
Yep.
have Jehovah, which is the demiurge. So that's Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Okay. And there's the symbolism with the rose.
If you're
And
trying to show it, I can't see it.
oh, sorry. Oh man, is it glitching out on me?
Just double click on the image again once.
Oh, I need to, oh, I'm on my browser, aren't I? Oh no.
You must have to pick a share screen and share the right screen. And I like this eyeball shaped one over here with the scarab beetle in it.
My stop share. All right, I'm back here. Okay. You got that?
There you go. Now we can see it.
So you have Yod Hey Vav Hey in the outer cross here.
Yep.
So that's the demiurge. And then in the inside, you have Yod Hey Vav Shin Hey, which is Yeshua. That Shin should be there actually. It should be Yod Hey Shin Hey, but never mind. So
It's in the middle now because I've been told that the N is the symbol for the infinite or the pretty much the N or the black hole.
so that's Aleph.
That's the
Aleph
Aleph
is the
symbol.
first letter. Yeah. So Aleph is basically the. They say that if you read the Sefer Yetzirah text, that when God creates the Hebrew letters, you have the Aleph first, but that's reserved for God, and then Beth, the second letter, is the first one that he gives consciousness to. So there is this
the Alpha and the Omega, right?
right. Yeah. So, but going back to this, right? So you have Jehovah on the outside cross, and on the inner pentagram, you have Yeshua, and the Shin in the middle of Jehovah. That's you when you have the light. So Jehovah on the outside, the light, and in the inside, you when you create it.
So that's what Yahshua means?
Yeshua is Jesus.
Yeah, Yeshua.
Yeshua is Jesus. So
Okay, now the Shin,
the Shin represents. I do have
one
a
right here with the crown, and it looks like a crown, right?
fuck. I do have a
At the
picture.
top of the pentagram.
So the Shin represents the three highest Sephiroth on the Tree of Life, which also corresponds to the divine
Chakma,
Trinity.
Bina, and understanding.
Yes. So, oh man, I got a picture of it somewhere where you can. Yeah, here we are. So here's the Shin. So this is
We're still seeing the cross here.
They call that the supernal triad at the top of the Tree of Life, which is beyond the abyss, which is really kind of reserved for like God or those who have had union with God. So when Shin is in Jehovah, that's Yeshua, that's you when you're enlightened. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
That's why Jesus is called Yeshua. You
just blew my mind because everybody's saying that. Yeah, okay, I got it now.
Do you understand that?
Yeah, now I totally do. I never.
Yeah, man. That's
I always wondered why Jesus had so many names, and now I get it.
Yeah, it's because you remember there's the double meanings in the New Testament and the Gospel, because Jesus is the salvationary aspect of the light.
Yes,
and the light itself, but Jesus is also the divine child when the illuminate has the light.
Right, and the light is double.
There's always these double meanings throughout. And
Lucifer is Jesus.
Right. You really have to intellectually understand it. So, I had some more pictures I wanted to share with you. There was one. Oh,
and look at in the middle of the pentagram, everybody, how it's got a pentagon. I find that pretty wild.
Oh man, where are these pictures? Sorry.
Like the buildings, the Pentagon, the layout of the Washington D.C. If you look from the air and you look down on it,
I've even got that picture. Man, I created a folder with all these new pictures. I'm trying to find it. Oh man, images. Oh, where did I save that? Because I have exactly that picture that you're talking about now. Pictures. Oh man, where did it go? Is it like behind here? Oh man, I created a whole folder and I can't find that folder. This is what I wanted to look at. But yeah, if I show you Washington DC.
Miles says, so what makes us so special? All the other dudes got the wrong name, but not you guys. I like you guys. I'm gonna give you the real name. It's complete illogical nonsense.
I don't understand what he means by that.
Neither do I. I'm trying to get what he means. I'm trying to figure it out actually.
Can you ask him to
What
like
does Sam mean when it refers to God?
what does what mean?
Sam.
Them.
Sam. S-A-M.
Oh, Sam.
Yes.
That comes from Samuel in the Gnostic texts. So
Okay.
Samuel is the demiurge when he thinks he's God and he's the ruler of all existence. I think it means blind God. Samuel.
The automatic.
Not Samuel, Samuel. So yeah, look, here's this picture I wanted to show you. So look, here you have the dome in Masonic architecture represents the divine feminine. I don't know why it's a dome. Maybe because it looks like a boob.
If you're trying to show something else other than that rose cross, you're not. The rose cross is still up there.
Oh, damn. All right.
You gotta switch screens on your share.
Stop share. This
But
glitch down.
Thoth came back and said, or Miles came back and said, the idea that the gods of Canaanites of Abraham gave Abraham his real name because he liked him better is what he was talking about. If you read the Bible, you will see how all the prophets and angels had the name of God in the name. Very good.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean,
awesome.
I'm
no Bible scholar. Don't get me wrong. That's
no, me neither. I'm no Bible scholar, but so am I still sharing? Can you still see my screen?
Now I can see the Washington pictures and everything. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I'm trying to show you. There was one that really shows it really well, where you have. Oh man,
right quick. What is your explanation of why there is a reflection pond like in front of the Taj Mahal, in front of the Washington Monument, in front of most major sites in the world?
Well, isn't it just like a? It's the whole above and below principle, isn't it? Because you see the above and the below in the reflection. So it's symbolic of the Hermetic law of correspondence, and that's really the like, for example, if you study electronics, they say the most important word in electronics is amplification, right? Or if you study mathematics, they'll say calculus is the most important word in mathematics, right? Now in magic, the most important word is correspondence, because everything below here will correspond to one of the spheres above. Right. So it's how you can manipulate the macrocosm with the micro. So that's what I take from that. I mean, someone else might have another explanation, a better explanation. I don't know. But yeah, the whole reflecting thing. Right. So this is the picture I wanted to show you. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So you've got the obelisk here on this side of the river, right?
Right.
Which is the phallic symbol and the masculine archetype and the nervous system and the ascension ejaculation all incorporated into that symbolically. And then across, and then this is really why I really like this.
Wow, picture. I never realized that, dude. That's the same as the Angkor Wat or Neek Peen.
What do you mean?
The dome is the feminine, and right?
Yeah.
And the phallus is the male.
Right. Yeah. So, and this is really cool because from this image, from this side here, you can see the waters separating them.
That's awesome, dude. I never.
Yeah, man. See, these Masons, they understand the nature of reality. The highly initiated ones, that's why they built these things, man, because they're relaying the truth. But you know what the creepiest one is? The creepiest fucking Masonic picture is this, man. I mean, look at this shit. The Freedom Tower.
The new one?
I mean, look, the two has become the one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know that when I looked at that the other day, I realized that,
Oh
and I
my
was
God,
like,
dude.
"Oh my god,
That's
there's
sick.
that is the real secret of 9/11, man."
Man, dude, you just gave me goosebumps.
I know, but look, the two has become
That
one.
is sick, dude.
It's pretty. I mean, what
That's
are they
sick is what
trying?
it is.
Are you telling me killing 3,000 people and then however millions of people in Iraq?
Oh my God, that's so sick, dude.
What, sick
That's
as
what
in?
that's what's going on right now in our world. That's why we're paying the price, man.
See, this is why I'm not convinced by this. By the
No, I think
pandemic.
nature has a rash and it's trying to get rid of the rash,
Yeah,
dude.
but did it come from the lab? Maybe it did come from the
Well,
market. I
maybe,
don't
but I
know.
think it's all is set in motion because it's destiny or manifest by us
Yeah,
in one way or another.
yeah. But that whole when you look at the Freedom Tower and you
Yeah.
realize the two has become one, and the big phallus on the, but it even looks like a phallus from the side. Can you still see my screen? Or sorry,
Yes, yes, and
an
how it's
obelisk.
twisted.
It's pretty deep, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man.
Do you think that was Dick Cheney's plan all along?
Well, I don't know. He had something in his heart or mind that made him and Rumsfeld. Mm.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of freaked me out when I realized that when I
Well,
saw
when you
that
look at
picture the other day.
cities in general are just the same as the light in the abyss. Or the pyramid at Giza. They're the
Mm,
first primordial mound in a sea of nothingness.
mm,
Or diamonds in a field of clay.
mm.
Cities, that's what they represent. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, because you have the countryside, then you
Yes.
suddenly have the city.
Yes.
Yeah, but we and this is where it gets even like more. You could say sadistic, or you could say beautifully enlightening, depending on what perspective you want to take, right?
Well, isn't that the case with everything in our world?
But this is the thing, right? When they called it the Freedom Tower, when they decided that was going to be the name, you just thought, oh man, that's American cheese, America, freedom. Let's call it the Freedom Tower, right?
Yeah.
But in order to attain freedom, you need to merge the two into the one.
That's
So there's a double meaning there again,
well, there's
man. Like,
there's a sadistic and there's the Lucifer and the redeeming aspect.
you
Yes.
know, as sadistic as it is, looking at it now from this perspective, I really hate to say it. And I'm kind of like having a South Park moment here, but it's kind of cool, like that they did that in hindsight. Maybe I'm just being sadistic now, man. I don't know, but
I don't think the people that had families that were killed in there are probably thinking.
no, they won't. They won't. That's why I said I'm having a South Park moment. But
Yet the people that were killed in there are probably sitting back going, "What a son of a bitch, man!"
yeah, bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why did I have to be involved in the 2-in-1 ritual?
yeah, yeah.
Twin towers. Dude,
And
I never even realized that. And it's called World One or One World Trade.
yeah, 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 yeah. And obviously the conspiracy theorists go, "Oh yeah, it's the new world order." Blah 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 blah. You know, David Icke, those bloody globalists, etc. So yeah, I just thought I'd show that to you, man, because I noticed that the other day when I looked at it, and I'm going, hang on a second. So I mean, yeah. And lastly, let
Miles
me show.
points out that even in Superman, in the kryptonite or whatever, but their families have L in their name. You know, L is in the Most High. Elohim. Uh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, L on its own, El is the god name of Jupiter,
Oh, I didn't
and
know that.
Jupiter, like high philosophy and real deep contemplation and meditation and wisdom. These all correspond to Jupiter because it's the last Sephiroth before the Saturn Sephiroth, which is really where you gain rest, eternal rest. So yeah, it's
And
it's very
Superman got his
interesting.
powers from the sun. He was sent in his crib off into space, into the primordial waters, just like Moses was sent down the river. Wow, that's crazy.
Then you got this one as well. You have Ruth. Let's find a good picture like this one. So Ruth is. Have you read the story of Boaz and Ruth in the book of Ruth?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, it's a really beautiful story. But so basically, I think she's a Magogian, and she basically just moves to this new area, and she's really nice and she works really hard. And then Boaz marries her because she's such a nice girl, and that's the moral of the story. But what it is, right, in this picture is that Boaz here is God, right? Because God is the truth, and the truth is severe, the pillar of severity. And Ruth here is the bride of God, and she's holding all this hay. This is the famous picture from that story. So this
It
is
reminds me of Demeter for some reason.
well, no, the hay is the divine child. She's holding the divine child. So you have God, the bride of God, or Mary, and then the demiurge is also corresponds to hay in your hands, like all the points coming out. You know,
Oh, okay, yeah.
you get it?
Yep.
It's pretty obvious once you see it, but and it's like a really nice story. It's like a really wholesome Bible story. There's no like death or human sacrifice or blood or any of that. It's just like, she's really nice. So she gets to marry Boaz. So yeah, that book though, there's kind of like the point of the story is like, be really nice if you're a woman. Like that's what a Christian would take from that. But the actual real meaning of it is like so much deeper,
Right.
So there's
Just
that
like
one.
most of the biblical art is.
Yeah, the biblical art it's always delineating the three states of God and the divine child or the demiurge, or I don't know. I never know what to call it, Steve, whether to call it Brahma, Jesus,
Just don't
Logos,
call it late for
demiurge.
supper.
Huh?
I said, call it what you will, just don't call it late for supper. That's my famous line. I like to say that all the time because my dad said it to me. Call me whatever you want, just don't call me late for supper. Boom, boom.
I don't get it. I've got to be honest.
You don't get it?
What's the joke?
Call me whatever you want, just don't call me late for supper.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get it.
No, you don't. You don't get it.
I do. Yeah, you don't want cold dinner. Call me on time for supper.
Because I'm a fat kid and I need some cake, man.
Oh, right. Oh.
I'm just kidding, man.
American humor, eh?
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah. I tell you, man, America's go on.
No, go ahead, buddy.
I was just gonna say, man, America's a weird fucking place. It really is. Like,
right. I was ribbing Phil about he was making some. I think I ribbed you the last time too. You made a couple offhand comments, or I can't remember what it was, man, but it was weird.
You need do you know what America needs more of?
What's that?
Needs more Walmarts and more Target stores.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't have enough.
My ass, it doesn't have enough. There's Walmarts everywhere, man. Yeah.
But apparently, if you read Manly P. Hall's Secret Destiny of America, is that like the whole America, land of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. Apparently, and I don't know how this could be true, we'll take it symbolically, but apparently God does genuinely want America to be a free nation. Like, God really cares about America. America's really, really important to God.
Right.
No, serious. Like, everywhere in the whole universe, like, America's number one priority.
Well, what I see America as is we're a bunch of slaves unaware we're slaves.
No, you're not.
Yeah, we are, man.
Depends on your perspective.
Well, exactly. But I mean, we're chasing a carrot that is, never going to end. We're never going to end that chase. I mean,
What
even
carrot are you chasing?
the carrot,
What
money,
carrot though?
so
The
you can
American
eat,
dream.
so you can eat.
Right, I get you. Yeah, no, I
Mhm.
understand. Yeah, but it's like that everywhere else in the world, Steve.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean. We're all under the illusion of being free, but we're not.
No, no. Well, it says that in the Hermetic Corpus. It says nothing on the earth is free,
Right.
or you could interpret that nothing in the universe is free.
Right. Because we're
All in
consumers. We're the
heaven,
creatures of wrath.
all in heaven is free.
Right.
No,
Right.
really is. So, you know, I mean, Phil theorizes that there could be much more benevolent planets out there, and I don't doubt that with the sheer possibility of numbers for other planets that
He skirted
are,
around that question. I asked him the last time he was on. I said, "So what makes Earth so special?" Because all
what
of
makes
these,
Earth so special?
yeah.
America, of course.
Shut up.
Donald Trump. Hey, talking on Trump's
Hey,
narcissism.
do you find it funny that Trump Pence are in the White House?
Look, I like Donald Trump because he wasn't politically correct. He just said it how it was. That's how he got into power, right? He said what people wanted to hear. You go, fuck you, your feminist bullshit and your transgender nonsense, whatever. Like, yes, but that's basically how he got elected. He stuck two
I
things.
don't even think our votes matter. I think you're appointed to that position, and if they do matter, I think the only way he got elected was because of the Apprentice reality show that he was on for 5 years before he got elected. And he went into hiding for 5 years after that show was over, and all of a sudden he's on the scene getting elected. I found that a little weird.
Well, he's Scottish Rite Freemason, isn't he? Donald Trump.
He's a Jesuit.
Yeah, so I mean, but to be fair, I feel sorry for him because he's been attacked by the media constantly for 4 years. Now, surely that would make people
You
are
don't think
saying
that's all bread and circus, though?
pardon.
You don't think it's all bread and circus or made up nonsense to create a this and a that or a
Well,
diversion?
it isn't. It isn't. It isn't. It isn't. And I'll explain why. I think if you look at it from the big picture, it is kind of a circus and a clown show, right? But when you go drill down into life itself, we live in these towns, and these towns need management and order put through into implementation by the law. So we have local government. I don't want to go and fucking monitor the sewage systems or clean them. That's why I pay my local taxes so someone else can do that job for me. I don't want to take my trash to landfill. I don't want to maintain the gas, water, and electricity works. So, you have the local government has the job that we need it to do to keep to keep those commodities going, right?
The
It gets
infrastructure.
scaled up. It basically gets scaled up to eventually local government, county, state, and then the federal government. And like I say, Steve, it all depends on what perspective you want to take.
Just like everything else.
If you want to
Correct.
get really involved in politics,
No,
take it
it's a
real
bunch of nonsense.
serious, then it becomes very real. But if you just want to stand back and go, well, what will be anyway, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's all. I'd say the reality of politics is based on your perspective.
Right.
And people who take politics seriously and don't think it's an orchestrated play or act, for them the experience of the whole political campaigns and elections is very real.
I know my great grandma's is that way. Her existence hinges on getting Trump out of the White House.
See, I don't. Why do people hate Donald Trump so much? I don't understand.
I think he's a boob, and he does not have he doesn't care about the environment. Period. I mean, he's made comments that I've heard him in speeches state, quote, "They made this squiggly road, so if you're in a bar or you have a couple of drinks, you have to pay attention so much that you're at risk of driving off the road because some animal or something that we're worried about killing is going to get killed if we don't build the road, if we build the road straight." Where I'm from is what he says. Where I'm from, we build roads straight because then we don't have to worry about turning. He
Right.
said that in a freaking public on a public podium, answering questions
Who
to
knows?
or whatever. It was
But
ridiculous.
that's the thing. I mean, the point is with all this that I'm trying to make here,
Perspective is everything.
is I don't really care, and I mean,
Right, me neither.
I've been meditating every day for about half an hour for far too long to give a shit about any of this now. I really have. No, I'm
Right.
serious. I'm serious.
Oh, I
Like,
know you're serious.
I just it just doesn't matter to me now. Like, if we had like an aggressive military coup that wanted to implement America into a fucking an authoritarian socialist regime run by fucking psychopaths and despots, if that happened, then I'd be a bit more bothered about it, you know.
Right.
But hey, like Manly P. Hall said, God really cares about America. He really wants it to be free.
Yeah, I think that's one of his best statements he's ever made.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, dude. So are we done here? You got your get on with your evening.
Yeah. I was just gonna say let's wrap it up. You got anything else to add or anything important to say? I mean, any glimmer of hope there? Where are you in California? Are you in the Los Angeles area?
No, fuck no. I don't want to be in LA. I'm sorry if you live in LA. Anyone watching? I'm in San Diego.
Okay. And how's the area around there? Is it as
There's
far as
absolutely no quarantine.
okay?
People aren't at work, but everyone's going out to the stores and stuff. You know, you wouldn't think
People
there's a pandemic.
co-mingling and not paying attention to. I mean,
Oh no, yeah, people are still got their masks on and their gloves and hoarding toilet roll and all that jazz. But our supermarkets seem to have steadied. So,
did they cut
yeah.
like 24-hour stores down to closing them at 8:30 or 10 o'clock at night so they could restock them and stuff like that?
Yeah, they and the elderly can go first thing in the morning for 2 hours in certain stores. They're trying to manage the situation, but as long as that panic is part of the lower animal mind, the
You mean the
lower,
panic buying and
David
stuff
Icke
like that?
calls it the reptilian mind, but in Kabbalah it's the Rausch, or
Yeah.
it's the animal soul. So it's those people who are in the animal soul being manipulated into their survival mechanism being activated by the media, and then just going to buy as much fucking shit as they can, like a hoarding like a squirrel in winter or something like that. So
I know. I was disgusted when I went to go get eggs and milk when all this first started, and I just got sick to my stomach literally in the grocery store.
yeah. I tell you one great thing about coronavirus though is the amount of hilarious memes going around on the internet, man. It makes it all worth it. Because
I don't know.
what I mean by that, Steve, is that in times where everyone is predicting doom and gloom, you have to really find a sense of humor, and it's a testament to the nature of the human spirit that you just can't. You got to do so much to crush the human spirit, and it's still alive and well. And all the memes in the face of this pandemic are evidence of that. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed.
All
There's
right, dude.
far better things on our horizon than some virus, I guarantee. So I agree with that totally.
Yeah.
They're not going to get me down. Oh, whoa. Nothing gonna get me down. I agree. I think we're gonna be fine. Well, look at I'm the cloud of whoa.
Yeah.
My virtual background is not so good when the lighting is bad. But yeah, hey, thanks a lot, Jack. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate being on. And yeah, I really do have to. I'm trying to upload more content onto YouTube, but I'm being really lazy about it. So yeah, I might just, instead of uploading videos, if you're down, just chat with you every once in a while and just upload a chat.
Yeah, whenever, man. Whenever you're available, just give me. You got my number.
Yeah, and we'll have to do a 3-way with Phil, a triple threat match.
Sounds good. Yeah, people were asking for that actually when we started this.
Yeah, yeah, I'll email him and see if we. It would have to be at the weekend because of time difference, but that'd be really good because I could be like, Phil, can you explain exactly what this fucking means in this
Right,
verse of this text? Because I don't get it.
right. There's so many things that he's explained to me like 50 times, and it takes like 4 or 5 times for him to. And then even then, I think it's just when you're ready for that information, it'll finally hit you. Like
Yeah.
like you just explained that. Or I can't even say the name.
Yeshua.
Yeshua and the yeah, that Rose Cross.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah.
And I never, I'm sure somebody has explained that to me before, but it never really hit me.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you see the screen? This is what you were just talking about. The same.
Yeah. Is this your backdrop or my backdrop? It looks just like mine. It's yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
God, your picture gallery must look exactly the same as mine, man.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's good though, because it shows there's a convergence to something, you know?
Correct.
So yeah.
All right, brother.
man. I'm gonna let you get going. Yeah,
Let's
and I appreciate everyone in the
real.
chat who watched. I mean, I'd say subscribe to my channel, but there's no content on it. But yeah.
They're all familiar with the 2 videos that I shared your videos, and
Yeah, I've got to do more work
anxiously
on that.
awaiting your video production prowess so we can experience some more second to none content.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm gonna try and get on it more. I promise I will. But yeah, it's just finding the time with work, my own spiritual practice, managing my chores, and spending quality time with the missus. It's all a balancing act. So
Such is life, right?
yeah, yeah. All right, Steve.
brother,
Take care. Enjoy your weekend, and yeah, hit me up, man.
You too.
And
Stay
thanks
safe.
to everyone in the chat.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye, bud. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we appreciate you coming. And not many people showed up because they're probably watching some bigger, more interest. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, Stoff. Thanks, Miles. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Travis. Who else is here? Not many, but whoever's here, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. Love, peace, chicken grease. Be safe.